The most important thing that you can do every single day at work that just has to drive your enterprise is to create a sense of belonging with your clients. Belonging. When people feel emotionally connected and invested to a business, that business matters more to them. I've said this a million times. Even for, as we say, a lousy cup of coffee. When the guy in the coffee shop knows your name, it's not a coffee shop anymore, is it? It's your coffee shop. And when we have something, somewhere, that makes us feel seen and understood, like we're part of it, like we're not just a transaction, we're not just a means to an end, when that is the case, the transaction and the business relationship matters more to it. And one more thing. When we belong somewhere, when we feel something about a place, something positive, we want to share it with other people. And this is so critical because you're making a terrible error if you dismiss this. If you think, no, it's growth or perish, Dennis. Growth, no, it's not. It's not growth or perish. Businesses get into all kinds of trouble when they have too much growth. It's profit or perish. Never make that mistake. And what's prompting all of this thought today is that Bob Weir died, one of the founding members of the Grateful Dead. And I've referenced the Grateful Dead in keynotes and in my workshops for probably pushing 30 years. Let's talk about them. What did I learn from the dead, as we call them, that you can learn from the dead? Okay, what did you learn? What can you learn and how can it serve you? How about this? The Grateful Dead, in their entire career, which has been decades long, they started in the 60s, they've only ever had one top 10 hit. Isn't that incredible? That's how I learned about them. It was in the era of MTV and Much Music here in Canada. The song is A Touch of Grey. In all likelihood, if you're not a Dead fan, if you're not on the bus, as it were, it's probably the only Grateful Dead song you know. And yet, they've made bazillions of dollars and they have been a traveling act forever. They are the show. Here's how they did it. And you got to do the same thing. Number one, authenticity. Oh, Dennis, don't say that word. That word's so overused. No, it isn't. That word is misunderstood. This is what authenticity is. You are true to yourself and you are true with how you represent yourself to others. How could that idea ever get overused? Okay, so start number one. They know exactly who they are, and they made their music for themselves and their fans. They never once looked off stage at the people not coming to the show and wondered, why aren't they coming here? They never said to each other, let's write a pop tune. I looked it up to know what I was talking about. I heard the song Touch of Grey in 1987. The song Touch of Grey was first played in an encore in 1982. It took 5 years to put it on a record. In the Dark is the record, by the way, is the album. 5 years. For 5 years that song existed before they put it on a record. And I only heard about it, that hit, because of music television. That was it. It streamed into my living room in northern Ontario. That's how I became a fan. Okay? They stuck to their beliefs and their values and writing music. They didn't say, God, there's enough talent on this stage. Let's write a simple pop tune. Let's write a number one hit. They didn't do that because they didn't want to. Here's the second thing they did. They kept showing up. They kept showing up. They kept playing music generously and honestly. Number three, for who? For their fans, for deadheads, for the people who get it. Okay? They didn't try to show up for the people that don't get it. Have you ever done that? You subtly start to change your message to attract people who are close to listening but not quite listening. Don't. That sabotages your authenticity. It sabotages any chance you have to create a movement. Okay? Do what the Dead did. They created, number four, a community. I remember when I fell in love with the Dead. So the first song I heard was Touch of Grey. Then the next Grateful Dead song I heard was Uncle John's Band. Oh my goodness, which to this day remains one of my favorite songs. And I was captivated by this story. What? Who is this band? What's a Deadhead? These big festival-like shows, hearing about this jam band. I'd never even heard the term in my life. I remember my friend from long ago, Alex Hester. Where are you? Oh my goodness. How fitting is that? I just gave the peace sign, the Jeep wave, to another Jeep driver, owner, member, as I'm recording this video about tribes and the power of movements. I participate in another one simultaneously. Oh my goodness, the universe is coming up Dennis today. So Alex Hester, he says, oh yeah, when you go to the show, Canada's Wonderland at the time, up at the stage on the left are my buddies, and they always go to the exact same place. They always stand there. And this is when I learned about following the Dead. What? There are people that just go to show after show after show? Now, if you're thinking, holy cow, did you just fall off the pumpkin truck or whatever? Like, buddy, where were you? I was in Northern Ontario, man. It's pretty far away from San Francisco, I promise. I know, because I go to San Francisco pretty often, and it amazes me every time. I was unaware, okay? Something caught my attention, one song. But what brought me in and kept me there was first the story. That sounds incredible. And then what? A desire to be a part of the story. I want to be one of those people that follows the Dead. Never did. And probably it was the right move for me. In my own way, I assure you, I participated in the culture. However, that was the story. Now, I want you to think about you and whatever point you're trying to make. Because, you know, I always say business owners. Well, you might not be a business owner. You might be a manager or a leader in a corporation. So instead of saying your business, how about this? Your point. Because a successful business makes a point, right? So what the hell point are you trying to make? And to make that point, how are you doing it? You need to catch people's attention, but then you need to be worth their time and their energy or their investment. So what are you doing, I suppose, to catch their attention? And you have an option here. Option A, do something that gets their attention, i.e. write Touch of Grey. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to tell you. That's really hard. It's harder today than it was yesterday and harder than the day before that. It gets increasingly harder to catch people's attention. And I say this all the time to business owners. I don't care who you think your competition is. It's not other people that do what you do. You're in competition with Netflix. Netflix? What the hell are you talking about? Everything is for sale and everybody's asking for your attention. Attention is at a premium. You are in competition with Netflix because whatever the hell it is you're asking people to do, they know they can look it up later, including this video. Oh, I like this Dennis guy. I'll look him up later. Shut me off. Never look again. So your choices are: write a hit single, Touch of Grey. Whistle through your teeth and spit, 'cause it's all right. Or keep showing up for your fans. Dennis, I've got 9 fans. Right on, that's 8 more than you need. Woo! Good for you. You just need 1 fan at the party, my friend. 1 fan that you do your work generously and beautifully for. Okay? And keep showing up. They're going to bring somebody else. Be more generous than anybody would ever think is reasonable. So that's part 1, is attention. Here's the second thing. What are you doing to keep them at the show? What's the experience? Oh yeah, you and the experience. Yeah, me and the experience. Once you catch somebody's attention and they enter your business, okay? Now you got to keep them there. Service, attention brings them in the door. Experience keeps them in the door. Experience keeps them there. Let's just go back a minute to number 1, attention. I said you can write a hit single, impossible to do and getting harder by the moment, or you can keep showing up. Well, another way you can catch somebody's attention is they have a need. Oh no, I got a hole in my roof and I need a roofer. Google, and they find you. So you get lucky that way. And then we go to rule 2 and it's still all the rules apply again, which is, okay, well, once you get them in the door with attention, it's experience that keeps them there. What's your experience? The minute somebody walks in the door, are you the light? I talked about that in a video the other day. Be the light. The world's dark, man. It is dark. Empathy, compassion, off the table. It's the screw your feelings society that we're living in. And my God, do we ever like a little bit of sunshine? So be the sunshine. Someone walks in your door, bang, there's a moment. There's a moment where they're so happy almost that they got that hole in the roof. Oh, thank God for you. How do you do your work? That's the experience, not what you do, that's the service. So you got to focus on this experience is about creating time well spent, not saved. I've made a million videos about it, everybody. They're easy to find here on YouTube. I don't want to rant on it. I want to stay on target here. So attention. We can write a hit single, that's hard. We can keep showing up for our fans. That's easy and natural, and you can do it immediately after this video. Okay, or we can rely on a little tiny bit of luck, which is somebody has a need for what we do. My whole career started with financial advisors. Oh no, someone gets laid off and a great big check. Oh dear, I better Google financial advisor. And if you need more selling that I'm the guy to listen to, why don't you Google what the hell you do and ask how many people do what you do within a couple of miles of your house, a couple of kilometers of your house. You're going to see there's lots of competition for people offering that service. There's never competition for a story. So we get them in the door with attention or a need, a service, the promise of a function. We do this. We keep them there with an experience that resonates. An experience is meaningful, memorable, and deeply, deeply personal. At a Dead show or a Bruce Springsteen show, people call it going to church. We commune. We come together with our congregation of deadheads, or in my case yesterday, downhill skiers, mogul skiers, bump skiers, tree skiers. We hoot, we holler, we cheer, we participate, we share the experience, right? Right, okay. Now what's the third part? Transformation, baby. It's consequence that keeps them there. They never feel as good as they do at a Dead show. Every song they've heard, sung a zillion times in that moment matters more to them than it ever has before. The friends we meet, the connections we make, the people we see over and over again. Oh my goodness, that's it. That's what you can learn from the Dead. Don't get seduced by what other people are doing. I don't think any members of the Dead ever thought, oh man, we should do what Taylor Swift is doing. And that's not to take a swipe at Taylor Swift. She is following the recipe of the Grateful Dead. What I'm saying is, I don't think they ever felt any sort of jealousy or resentment for people that become global pop stars. I don't think they feel that way. They love their tribe and they love showing up for them, and you got to feel the same way about your people. You're not trying to make a profit. But you said it's profit or perish. Well, I did, but because I was clarifying, it's not growth or perish. Profit is a byproduct of showing up. Do you think I count the money? No, man. I count the impact. And that's what the Dead did too. They didn't care about any of that other stuff. What they cared about was who was right in front of them and whether or not they were connecting and moving them, changing them, influencing them, changing how they think, what they believe, and ultimately what they do. Woo! The Dead, man. They made a lot of people in a lot of places better by plugging in and turning on and showing up. God bless them. Experience is not an event, everybody. It's time. It is time well designed, time with you that's meaningful and memorable and deeply, deeply personal. Whew. Love to hear from you. If you're not really familiar with the Dead, go listen to Uncle John's band right now. What a pretty song, and what a lovely little warning that's in there. When life looks like easy street, there's danger at the door. Stay vigilant, measure, adjust. Okay, keep an eye on everything. Keep an eye on that marketplace. Keep an eye on your people. Make sure you don't get left behind. Thanks for this. And while you're here, go watch this video.